up, it's showtime. Showtime. Guess who's back again? Oh, they don't know. Oh, they don't know. I bet they know as soon as we walk in. Oh, we're in Cuban.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Matt. Welcome back to 3 and Out. It is Friday, which means it's a football Friday. So on today's show, what I'm going to deliver to you is my top 6 college football teams as if I was on the committee picking for the college football playoffs. I have a lot of discrepancies. I really want to get into that. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you my college football picks for this weekend, straight up and against the spread. I'm also going to do the same thing for the NFL, give you my straight up and against the spread picks here. So getting right into it, I'm going to give you my top 6 college football teams as if I was picking for the college football playoffs. These might not necessarily be the top 6 teams in the nation according to some polls or even the college football committee polls. This is what I think I would do if I was picking today. So at number 6, I have the Oklahoma Sooners. At number 5, I have the Ohio State University. At number 4, I have the Wisconsin Badgers. At number 3, I have the University of Notre Dame. At number 2, I have Georgia. And at number 1, I have Alabama. Now, I know that differs from the College Football Playoff Committee's picks. They have Georgia, Bama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Oklahoma, Ohio State. Now, if I was doing a top 10 list, my top 10 would be 7 would be Miami University of Florida. Number 8 would be Penn State. Number 9 would be Clemson. And number 10 would be TCU. Now, I know Clemson's had some pretty good wins this year, but I can't look past that really bad loss that they had to Syracuse. Now, I know their quarterback was hurt, but again, you're Clemson. You're the defending national champions. You have recruiting classes that are top 10 every week, or every year, I'm sorry. You don't lose to a team like Syracuse. I don't really care if it was the middle of the week. It doesn't matter. There's excuses for everything. That game they should never have lost. And for me, that's the worst loss in the top 10. So I gotta knock them down a peg because of that. So let's get into my top 6 picks. So I said number 6 was Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma does have the win against the Buckeyes, and I think eventually that could come into play. But right now, if I'm looking at the eye test, Oklahoma doesn't look that good. They do have the loss to Iowa State. They lost to Ohio State after they beat Ohio State, and they've had some struggles against teams that they shouldn't have. So let's dive into it. So Baylor, 0-8. They 49-41. I mean, you give up 41 points to Baylor. I know they're a high-scoring offense, but I mean, that's 41 points to Baylor. Then they lost to Iowa State, which they were up 21 points in that game at home. I know the loss doesn't look as bad now because Iowa State's, I think, ranked number 15th, but they're a top 20 team, so it looks better the more that Iowa State keeps winning. But then they beat Texas 29-24. Now, I can understand that rivalry game, big game there. It's going to be a close game a lot of times, so I get that one. But then Kansas State, they beat 42-35, and it took them to come back from a big deficit to actually win that game. And then finally, you get Texas Tech, 49-27. You're sitting there going like, oh, that's a pretty good win. It took a big third quarter for them to pull away in that game. So right now, just eye test, Oklahoma doesn't look like they deserve to be in the top 4. That's why I have them at number 6. At number 5, I have the Ohio State Buckeyes. I probably should have them higher, but I think I'm just going to take off my biased hat here, just kind of look at it. They do have the loss to Oklahoma, but right now they're playing the best football I think they're one of the 3 or 4 best teams playing right now. There's a cool little stat that they have. They are the number 2 scoring offense and number 2. They're top 10 in total offense. They're also top 10 in total defense. They're the only team in the country that can say that. I think this team is eerily similar to the team that won the national championship a couple years ago. Early loss, get everything playing right during the middle of the season into the back end of your schedule where you have some tough opponents and you just start steamrolling. And this team is very dangerous and has a chance to be a national championship contender there. At number 4, I have the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, I think I just have them there more because it's like more of a principle, because I've had them in my top 4 already this year. Like the last one I had in my top 4, and they haven't done anything to knock themselves out. Now, eventually their schedule's going to catch up to them, and once these teams start winning more, they're going to be left out unless they get that big win against Michigan at the end of the year and also go against most likely either Ohio State or Penn State, that whoever wins the eastern side of the Big Ten, if they can get that win there, I can see it. But if they don't get the win, if they don't get some big wins coming up soon, if they don't win their games, they're going to be out of this top 4, top 6 discussion. I think eventually they're going to play themselves out. But for right now, more principles than everything, I have them in my top 4. At number 3, surprisingly, I have Notre Dame. Now, why I say surprisingly is I really didn't see them as a top 4 team until I started really looking at their schedule this week and see what they've done. Now, I don't know if I'm 100% sold on this team yet, but the resume they have belongs here. At the time, they have 2 top 15 wins and a loss to the now number 1 in the College Football Committee in Georgia. And that was only by 1 point. And then their running back, John Adams, is very explosive. He's a Heisman candidate, Heisman Trophy candidate. I mean, the guy is averaging 8.8 yards a carry, 9 touchdowns on the season. And their schedule gets really tough these next 4 weeks. Now, they have 2 real tough games at Miami and at Stanford. And sprinkle in that, they get Wake Forest this week, who's no pushover. I really do see that Notre Dame will probably beat them, but that's not a pushover game. And then Navy, who's always tough. They're a really good team. They're tough to prepare for. I do like Notre Dame right now. Again, I'm not 100% sold on this team, but they are deserving to be in the top 4 right now. At number 2, I have Georgia. So outside of the Notre Dame win, they haven't had anything. I mean, their schedule has not been tough at all. I believe that the win over Notre Dame is the second best win in the college football season. I'll get you to my first best win here when I talk about Alabama. I will talk to them. I want to talk about them a little bit more in the next coming weeks. They do have to go to Auburn as their toughest game left. I think that they're going to be a team that if they stumble, it's going to be a shock, and then they're going to get into that game against Alabama and hope they play close, because if Alabama beats them by a lot, they will not be included into the top 4. But I think we'll be talking a little bit more about this team over the next few weeks. I didn't have them as the number 1 team, and I'll tell you why, because I'll tell you about Alabama. So, to me, the best win in college football this year was week 1, when Alabama went out and absolutely manhandled Florida State. At the time, they were ranked number 3. Now, we're never going to know how good Florida State was going to be this year. But you can't fault Alabama for that. They went out and beat the crap out of them, but they hurt their starting quarterback, one of the best players in the college football. And it really, I mean, I know I just said about Clemson, you losing your starting quarterback, but Florida State, you can tell that team was all about the Francois there, and I really do believe you can't punish Alabama for Florida State not being good because their quarterback got hurt week 1. So in all of this, what I'm going to say is I have number 1 Alabama, number 2 Georgia, number 3 Notre Dame, number 4 Wisconsin, number 5 Ohio State, and number 6 Oklahoma. But these are nowhere near going to be the same ones that I pick even next week and into the weeks beyond. We have some big games in the college football season that I'm going to be picking, and it has a lot of this top 6 implications. All right, so let's get into my college football picks for this weekend. Now, I think there's a lot of compelling games, a lot of ranked-on-ranked matchups. I think they'll have a lot of implications for what the college football rankings next week will be. So getting started, I'm picking 10 games. I do 10 games every week in college football. So my number 10 game I have, and these are in no particular order of best games. It's just how I have them written down or how the ESPN app had it laid out. Again, how I get my spreads, I do ESPN app, and it was today at about 5:30, 6 o'clock Friday, so that's how I got my spreads at. So the number 10 game, number 6, Ohio State going to Iowa. Now, Ohio State are 18.5-point favorites. I have them winning this game straight up. Now, if this was a night game, again, what happens in the Big Ten or even in any conference, when you go on the road on the night, I don't know if it's just the psyche from the fans being a little bit more pumped up or the players or what it is, but the atmosphere is a little different. So I tend to not pick huge spreads for night game starts. But this is a 3:30 start time. I think Ohio State ends up winning this game, going away 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. So I do have Ohio State covering the 18.5 points as well. The second game I'm picking is number 7 Penn State traveling to number 24 Michigan State. So another ranked-on-ranked matchup. Penn State are favored by 9.5 points. So to me, I really don't see Michigan State being in this game. So I have Penn State winning the game straight up and also covering. I think Penn State's going to come out with this fire, this focus that they had, giving up that lead to Ohio State last week. I really think is just a little wake-up call. They see themselves that they still have a chance in the committee's eyes. Only being downgraded to number 7. I do think Penn State covers, and they also win this game straight up. The next game I'm covering here, number 15, Iowa State traveling to West Virginia. West Virginia are 3-point favorites, and I'm looking back at this, and I was thinking, like, how would I pick this game? I'm like, Vegas must be telling, or ESPN, or wherever they get their spreads from, must be telling us something. And I'm sitting there, and I go, well, I've seen this a lot. West Virginia have been home favorites against a ranked team twice this year, and they've lost both times. And I think it's going to be a third time. Now, I don't see Iowa State winning this game by a lot. So 3 points was sitting there going, I don't really know. I think that Iowa State wins by a touchdown. So I have Iowa State winning and covering. So going into the next game, number 4, Clemson at number 20, NC State. Clemson are favored by 7.5 points. Now, I am struggling to go back with this. I mean, NC State just got beat down on the road at Notre Dame. They had high expectations. They felt they were feeling themselves. They got some national spotlight, and you're sitting there going like, all right, this team. It seemed like they were just they're finally someone's telling us we're good, and they started feeling themselves a little bit. They're like, oh, we're gonna beat them, and they got cut down a little bit. I think this week is a total redemption game for NC State. They're at home, great home crowd. They're going to be very pumped up. I see NC State winning this game, so I also say, hey, give me that 7.5 points as well. NC State wins, NC State against the spread. The next game is number 5, Oklahoma at number 11, Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State is favored by 1.5 points. I just don't see it. I guess if you're an Ohio State fan or if you're anyone else in the top 4, you want to see Oklahoma lose. I think that they're going to win this game, and I think they're going to cover, or they're going to give me 1.5 points to do that. I appreciate that. I see Oklahoma State winning this game by 10, maybe 14 points. So give me Oklahoma and give me those points. The next game I'm covering here is number 19 LSU traveling to number 2 in those rankings, number 1 in my rankings, Alabama, with Alabama being 21.5 point favorites. So I have Alabama winning this game, but I see this as one of those old school SEC ground and pound, punch in the face type games. I don't see Alabama really pulling away that much. I see it maybe this comes down to a field goal or a late touchdown. I really do see that they keep it within there. So I'll take Alabama straight up. Give me those 21.5 points. I'll take LSU in the spread. Then the next one we have is number 13, Virginia Tech at number 10, Miami. Miami are actually underdogs, getting 1 point at home, and I tend to agree with the spread. I think Virginia Tech's going to win this game. I think Virginia Tech's going to win. It's going to be a close game, maybe 4 points. So I'll take Virginia Tech straight up, and I'll lay the 1 point and take Virginia Tech against the spread. Next, we have number 8, Wisconsin at non-ranked Indiana. Sorry, there's been a lot of ranked-on-ranked matchups there. So, yeah, Indiana not ranked. We have Wisconsin as 13.5 point favorites. I tend to stay away from Wisconsin with huge spreads, but being that it's only 13.5, 2 touchdowns, that's usually the comfort that they're winning. They're winning by 14, 17 points. I see that that's going to happen again. I'll take Wisconsin straight up, and I'll lay the 13.5 points and take Wisconsin against the spread. Last 2 games here, we have Wake Forest at Notre Dame. Notre Dame being 14.5 point favorites. I have Notre Dame winning this game straight up. For some reason, I really do see Wake Forest keeping this game close. They haven't really been getting blown out by many teams. 2 touchdowns. I think that it might be a 14-point game, so that half point is really important here. So give me the points, and I'll take Wake, but I'll take Notre Dame straight up. And then finally, we have number 21 Stanford at number 25 Washington State. Now, I don't like picking Pac-12 games. I don't know incredibly a lot about these teams, but this game just seemed very intriguing. Stanford is a 1.5 favorite. I tend to go with Washington State at home. So if you're telling me that Washington State's going to win this game at home, you're going to give me some points for doing so, I'll take those points as well. So Washington State straight up and I will pick them against the spread as well. And now moving on to the easy transition here to the NFL, where I'll be picking every game this week outside of obviously the Thursday night game, considering that I'm doing this on a Friday. So, well, the first game we have is Atlanta -2 at Carolina. I like Carolina to win this game, so if you're going to give me points, I'll take them. Carolina straight up, Carolina against the spread. Next game we have is the Colts at the Texans. Texans are 7-point favorites. I don't know. I think it's a very somber mood in Houston right now. I do think they're going to win this game. Low scoring. There are a lot of field goals kicked here. So Houston wins, but give me those 7 points. I take the Colts against the spread there. Next, we have Cincinnati traveling to Jacksonville. Jacksonville are 6-point favorites. I just don't see it, guys. I might be wrong here. This might be the one that I think that I might be the most wrong on this week. I have Cincy winning this game, so if you're going to give me 6 points, I'm going to take that as well. So Cincy straight up, Cincy against the spread. Next one, we have Tampa Bay at New Orleans. New Orleans are 7-point favorites. Tampa Bay has just been atrocious on the road. New Orleans is on a high right now. I see New Orleans running away with this game, so I have New Orleans straight up, also against the spread. The next game we have are the Rams -4 at the Giants. This is a tough one because the Rams are traveling to the East Coast, 1 o'clock game. 10 o'clock on their, body clocks there. And I'm just sitting there going like, whoa, are they going to lay an egg? And I just look at the Giants and I say, they really don't have anything there. So I have the Rams straight up. I'll lay the 4 points as well. I think it might be a touchdown to 10-point game. So give me the Rams as well there. Next, we have Denver traveling to Philadelphia. Right now, Philadelphia's playing too well. I have Philadelphia winning this game. Also, I have them covering as well. The next one, we have Ravens at the Titans. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites. Again, I don't see it there. I see the Titans winning this game. And also, I'll lay the 3.5 points. I think they're going to win by a touchdown there as well. Moving on, we have the Cardinals at the 49ers. The Cardinals are 2.5-point favorites. I have the 49ers winning this game. So if you're going to give me some points, Carson Palmer being down really changes this whole thing. If Carson Palmer was there, then I'd be picking Arizona. But I just think that Drew Stanton's not going to have a good game. The 49ers are going to be playing really competitive football throughout the majority of the season. So 49ers. The next game, we have Washington traveling to Seattle. I don't see it. Seattle's going to blow them out. I have Seattle's 7.5-point favorites. I would take Seattle maybe at a 15-point mark right here. So I have Seattle winning it and also covering. The next game we have is Kansas City at Dallas. Dallas being 2-point favorites. Kansas City all the way. Kansas City's going to win this game, so if you're going to give me 2 points, I'm going to love you for that. Last 2 games here, we have the Raiders at the Dolphins. I have Oklahoma winning. They're a 3-point favorite. I think they're going to win by more than 3. I think there's going to be another one of those games. It's probably going to be a touchdown to 10 points there. I like the Raiders. And then finally, we have the Lions -2 at Green Bay. It's tough because Lambeau, no matter who the quarterback is, Lambeau's a tough place to play in. It's your Monday night game. So I have the Lions winning, and I will lay the 2 points and pick the Lions to do that as well. All right, everyone, that is it for today's show. Now, what I want to do is throw out this little tidbit, this nugget. So last week in the NFL, I went 13-0 straight up. So if you have a way of betting and doing straight up, right now I'm on fire. So look at what I picked this week. If you disagree, let me know in the comment sections below. I think I did take a little bit of risk with a couple picks, but we'll see come Monday when I do my review show. I'll update my record, let you guys know how I've been doing so far this season since we started doing these picks. Also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look back at Week 1 podcast the NFL, where I picked the division winners, the playoff teams. I'll see where I was right and where I was wrong. So look forward to that one. Probably going to be the Wednesday podcast there. So until then, my name is Matt. I really appreciate you guys listening. Those were my 3 topics, and I'm out. Peace.